American forces have handed over key bases in Syria and begun a broader withdrawal, marking the sharpest contraction of the U.S. military presence there in years. What began as a campaign against ISIS and evolved into a broader strategic foothold has now quietly closed. U.S. resources were moved over land from Syria, with concerns over attacks by Iran-backed groups on American assets shaping the exit route. The withdrawal brings an end to years of involvement in northeastern Syria, where U.S. troops had partnered with local forces, maintained detention sites, and acted as a counterweight to the Syrian government and Iranian-backed groups. With Al-Tanf handed over and the main northeastern hub drawing down, the old U.S. architecture in Syria is being dismantled, not fully erased. Control of some former U.S. positions is shifting to Syrian forces as Washington reduces its footprint. The Washington-backed Syrian Democratic Forces had agreed to a ceasefire after Syrian President Ahmad al-Sharaa came to power and have since moved to merge with the Syrian army. The United States had operated in the country alongside the SDF, which was instrumental in curtailing the ISIS presence in the region. The handover closes a chapter that had defined American military engagement in the Levant for nearly a decade. The departure does not mean the conflict has ended, and it does not yet mean the United States has fully ceased to be a physical participant in it. The departure raises questions about what remains unresolved. ISIS has been weakened, but not eliminated. Thousands of detainees remain in facilities previously supported by U.S. forces. Regional actors, including Turkey and Iran-backed groups, continue to operate in overlapping zones of influence. The risk is not of a single power filling the vacuum, but of competing forces doing so simultaneously. The Syrian exit is the clearest expression of an evolving U.S. approach to the Middle East. Reduced direct military exposure, increased reliance on partners and remote capabilities, and conflicts the U.S. once helped shape now left largely to others to manage. The withdrawal from Syria does not exist in a vacuum. It lands amid visible strain on U.S. military posture across the region and a growing list of aerial losses in the Iran war. The losses are not marginal. They include expensive and operationally important platforms, with the running cost already in the high hundreds of millions and possibly higher. What was designed to project American power is now generating a running ledger of attrition that military planners have not faced at this scale in over 2 decades. At the center of the attrition picture is the loss of one of the U.S. Navy's most advanced unmanned platforms. The MQ-4C Triton, a high-altitude surveillance drone valued between $200 and $240 million, went down over the Persian Gulf on April 9th. The U.S. Navy confirmed the crash, and the Naval Safety Command classified it as a Class A mishap, which typically means total loss of an aircraft or damage exceeding $2 million. The drone had completed a nearly 3-hour patrol over the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz before beginning its return to Naval Air Station Sigonella in Italy. Open-source flight tracking cited by defense outlets suggested an unusual final path for the Triton, including an unexpected turn northeast toward Iran and a descent from cruise altitude to roughly 9,500 feet over about 15 minutes, after which communication was lost. The cause of the loss remains unresolved. The circumstances of the crash remain officially listed as a mishap. Whether the Triton suffered a technical failure, crashed into the sea, or was brought down under hostile circumstances has not been publicly resolved. The MQ-4C Triton is built for high-altitude, long-endurance missions over vast maritime regions. It operates at altitudes exceeding 50,000 feet, can remain airborne for more than 24 hours, and carries a range of nearly 7,400 nautical miles. Its sensor suite provides 360-degree multi-intelligence coverage, tracking ships, detecting threats, and relaying real-time intelligence to other military assets for coordinated operations. The Triton fleet is small by design, which is why the loss of even one aircraft matters disproportionately. The Triton loss sits inside a much larger pattern. CBS News reported that the United States had lost at least 24 MQ-9 Reaper drones in the Iran war, at an estimated cost of about $720 million. These losses mark a sharp rise from earlier estimates, with 8 additional drones reportedly shot down in just the first days of April, according to sources speaking to CBS. The Reaper, long considered a backbone of U.S. drone warfare, has suffered consistent losses since the conflict began, particularly after the United States and Israel launched their assault on Iran on February 28th. The losses have been particularly concentrated around key Iranian defense zones. CBS described the losses as concentrated around multiple Iranian defense zones, but the precise map of hotspots remains dependent on outlet-specific sourcing. Despite their high cost, the Reapers have been deployed on high-risk missions, including deep reconnaissance operations inside heavily defended Iranian territory, where manned aircraft face unacceptable risk. Some analysts have argued the rising losses reflect changes in battlefield strategy, but the exact drivers should stay attributed rather than stated as settled fact. CBS tied some drone losses to rescue operations launched after a downed F-15E. But that specific breakdown is not independently matched here by Reuters. Other public reporting had pointed to the loss of a US F-15 over Iran, with the exact weapon type that brought it down still unresolved. Trump said it was a shoulder-fired missile, while Reuters separately reported Iran claiming a new air defense system, leaving the question open. The rescue mission losses highlight the growing danger faced even during recovery operations, where drones are now being sent into the same threat environment that brought down the manned aircraft. Beyond drones, the war has also involved confirmed losses and damage to other U.S. aircraft, but the full attrition list and total dollar figure remain heavily contested across sources. Other public reporting had pointed to the loss of a U.S. F-15 over Iran, with the exact weapon type that brought it down still unresolved. Trump said it was a shoulder-fired missile, while Reuters separately reported Iran claiming a new air defense system, leaving the question open. The broader list of fixed-wing losses that has circulated across outlets has not been fully matched at the Reuters or AP level. The losses are not limited to American assets. Other reported Allied drone losses remain unevenly sourced and should stay attributed unless stronger independent confirmation emerges. The MQ-9 Reaper had previously suffered notable losses in conflicts involving Yemeni forces between 2023 and 2024, raising early concerns about its survivability in contested environments. The current conflict is amplifying those concerns at a much larger scale, as the drones now face more advanced air defense systems operated by a prepared adversary. The implications reach beyond this war and into the broader question of unmanned platform viability in high-intensity conflict. The scale and intensity of the losses are forcing a reassessment inside military planning circles. The cost-effectiveness and survivability of unmanned systems in high-intensity wars is now a live question, not a theoretical one. As critics of current U.S. doctrine have argued, the drones were designed for permissive environments. They are being used in contested ones. The attrition curve that has emerged in the Iran war is the first large-scale test of whether the American drone fleet can sustain operations against a capable state adversary with layered air defenses, electronic warfare capabilities, and the geographic advantage of operating over its own territory. So this is the picture. Key American bases in Syria have been handed over or are being vacated, but Reuters reporting did not establish that every last U.S. base is gone. The SDF is merging with the Syrian army. ISIS detainees sit in facilities the U.S. is stepping back from. The MQ-4C Triton has crashed in the Persian Gulf under unresolved circumstances. 24 MQ-9 Reapers have been lost. Other U.S. aircraft have been damaged, disabled, or reported lost in the conflict. But the full list remains disputed across sources. The running cost is already in the high hundreds of millions and possibly higher. The Syria withdrawal and the aerial attrition ledger are two halves of the same story. The American military footprint in the Middle East is contracting, and the cost of maintaining what remains is rising faster than the strategy can absorb. Subscribe to WLA for daily geopolitical analysis.